Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So, we're continuing reading from Transcendental Diaries. And before I start, I just want to apologize that I may not be prepared because I'm filling in and I was asked late last night to give class. And I'm actually reading this for the first time now. So, just a second. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmaletam Yena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya So this is chapter 10, Calcutta, New Delhi, Modi Nagar and Aligarh, March 27, 1976. So last week, His Grace Raghunath Bhatta Prabhu started this chapter, and he spoke the first two pastimes, the first two. So I'm going to skip that first two and go on to the third pastime. During his massage, he answered an interesting inquiry from Pranada Das, a devotee in St. Louis. He wanted to know what the Vaishnava perspective was on the Tantra Shastras. Sometimes you cite these Shastras as reference in your books, yet the conclusion of Tantric philosophy and its practices appear to be quite different than Vaishnava philosophy and practices. Are they in any sense correct or authoritative? And if so, what is the explanation of worshipping God as Mother, in brackets divine, and they're engaging in disciplinary activities which promote realization through sexual interplay and other prohibitions which we observe in our Krishna conscious society? Are these Shastras considered in pursuance of the Vedic version? What is their status? So Prabhupada replied simply but conclusively. The Vaishnava Tantras are bona fide Shastras, just like the Narada Pancharatra, but not the atheistic Tantra, which have nothing to do with the Vedic literature. The point is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is always Purusha, male, not female, Prakriti. Worship of the mother as Prakriti is not recommended by Krishna for the intelligent class of men. So Prabhupada just lays it down. We have to worship Krishna. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the only enjoyer. And we are Prakriti, we are basically the females to be enjoyed by Krishna. And all other Shastras, speaking about here, Tantric Shastras and things, we should not worry about. Our basic book, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam after that, and my favorite book, the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And if we just study these three books, everything is there. Srila Prabhupada has given us everything in these books, in his purports. And then we know through Bhagavad Gita the words of Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the activities of Krishna. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the mind of Krishna. So, word, body and mind of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are our three books. And by studying these three books, by studying them and living them, we can make thousands and thousands of devotees. Yeah. So, I'm just thinking that Prabhupada has given us this wonderful philosophy, this life of Krishna consciousness, but still, me, I don't want to fully surrender. I still think, okay, there's some enjoyment outside there, and but through the association of devotees. And we have so many wonderful devotees coming to South Africa, who are already in South Africa. Nishingananda Prabhu. For me, I'm always associating with Raghunath Bhatta Prabhu. We have Swarup Damodar Prabhu here. So all wonderful devotees. And every devotee is wonderful. So in the association of devotees, then yes, slowly we can leave that material life. Although we have to work and things, yes, it's there. But slowly, but surely, we come to the point of loving Krishna, surrendering to Krishna fully. And I always say, like, surrender is an everyday thing. We don't just surrender once, but every day we have to surrender. If anybody wants to add something, please feel free and make it more stimulating, more pleasing to the ear for everyone. So the next pastime. In the afternoon, Mr. Surendra Kumar Saigal, the owner of the Tiger Lock Company, paid a visit. He requested Srila Prabhupada to come to Aligarh to do a program. Prabhupada quickly agreed, setting the date for 30th March. From there, he will drive to Vrindavan. Pushta Krishna Swami has also made arrangements with Balaram Das in Melbourne for Prabhupada to go to Australia on April 18th. From Australia, he will visit Fiji, Hawaii, Los Angeles, Detroit, Toronto, New Vrindavan, Washington, D.C., New York, and then London, Paris, Tehran, and then return to India. Thus, most of Srila Prabhupada's summer itinerary is now finalized. So Prabhupada at that age, 70 plus years old, did so much of traveling. He visited so many cities. And for what? Just for us. It's like, prior to coming into contact with the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, or for Krishna Consciousness, basically we were lost. Or for me, I was lost. And I'm a type of person that I always question, why do I have to do something? If somebody tells me to do something or asks me to do something, I must know why I'm doing it. So coming from traditional Hindu background, I was very rebellious because my parents couldn't tell me why we're doing such rituals and things like that. And I was always searching. I may have not been so spiritual, but I was always searching. I knew there was something more. And somebody had gifted my mother the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And it lied at home for many years, many years. I walked past the book, I looked at the book for so many years. And then one day, I was just like fed up. You know, I needed some answers. And then I remembered, oh, the Bhagavad Gita is here in our house. But then when I started to look for it, I couldn't find it. But prior to that, I could always see it everywhere. And then I think some days or maybe almost a week had passed. And then suddenly I saw it. I found it. I can't remember where now. And then I started reading Bhagavad Gita. And halfway through I was convinced. And in my heart I surrendered to Srila Prabhupada, and I was just convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is God. You know. So like this, Srila Prabhupada traveled all over the world in that short space of time. And there's so many devotees that came into the movement like me, who was just lost. I'm sure some of us sitting here were in the same boat, just lost. And Prabhupada, gave so much of his life just translating these books. And just for our pleasure, to save us. And I always think that, Prabhupada did, like it's, he's traveling to so many places, and he was an old man, and I have to do something, we have to do something just to please Srila Prabhupada. And a few weeks ago when I gave class from the same book, Transcendental Diaries, and then one devotee asked Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, what will please you the most? And his answer really touched me. Prabhupada said that you become 100% Krishna conscious. And then you give it to others, because it's a great want in this material world, in this world. Yeah, so this is what will please Srila Prabhupada. We become fully Krishna conscious and give it to others. So we're trying to do that. And all of you are senior to me, so please bless me that I can become a good devotee and preach Krishna consciousness. Maybe not all over the world, but at least in South Africa. Ridadas from South Africa finally arrived with Prabhupada's car after driving it cross-country from Calcutta. This evening he reported that his passport and some money was missing. Chayavan Swami has been seen hanging about in the front yard acting rather mysteriously. It is known he has no money, and circumstantially it seemed he might be the culprit. Pushta Krishna Swami confronted him straight away and with his suspicions, but he calmly denied any knowledge of it. Chayavan has spoken already to Prabhupada about his engagement. Prabhupada told him to simply chant and associate with devotees. Chayavan appears to be very disturbed. So yeah, even back then we had problems with money. I remember when I used to stay in the temple every weekend, and so at that time there was many boys in the ashram, and everybody was like had to find places to hide their stuff because things are always going missing. But yeah, I guess it's part of the the leela, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, even back then it was happening. But Prabhupada very importantly told him to simply chant and associate with devotees. And yeah, like I said earlier, this will save us, surrendering to the holy name and associating with devotees. Because like for me, the weekends are like I'm looking forward to it, because Monday to Friday is like I'm not devotees. I'm not with devotees. I'm associating with karmis because of work and things. But that meditation, just to come here and chant in the morning with the devotees around Tulsi Maharani, and then to associate with them, have breakfast with them, prasadam with them, go on Harinam and things. That's like what keeps me going, through the week. And devotee association. It's always stressed. Devotee association is so important. Devotee association is so important. And I only knew how important devotee association was when we got locked down during COVID time. And I think many devotees experienced this, where we couldn't come to the temple, we couldn't associate with devotees, and I was going crazy because it was like me and my wife, and you can get on each other's nerves, when you're in the same house all the time without going anywhere. Yeah, so yeah, that's when I realized how important devotee association is, because association of devotees is what will keep us in this movement. Studying Srila Prabhupada's books, associating with those who are living the books, the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and taking shelter of Krishna's holy name. And yes, this will give us lots and lots of bliss. We will experience bliss. I have experienced so much of bliss just by doing these three things. And it may seem simple, but actually it is difficult. But simple for the simple, difficult for the difficult. So therefore we have to simplify our lives. One time, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami was at one of his disciples' homes. It's very, 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 very opulent home. And then he made the point that he doesn't know how they are making spiritual progress by living so opulently. Because opulence will distract us from the spiritual path. And from that time, that really stuck in my heart, what he had said. Yeah, so simple living and higher thinking. Okay, next. If anyone wants to comment, please do. Nashingananda Prabhu, please. Madhuri Mataji, you as well. Gopal Krishna took Prabhupada out to see a property he is considering purchasing for a new temple. The present facility at Bengali Market, which in any event is woefully inadequate, has run out of lease and has been vacated. Gopal took him to a big house in a prestigious location. Some men showed him around and made various proposals, but later they turned out to be mere schemers trying to make some money as unofficial intermediaries. The site is actually owned by the American Embassy, and purchase of it can be negotiated only by written bid directly to the State Department. Prabhupada told Gopal to go ahead and try for it. The program at Ram Leela grounds had been cancelled today after a huge wind blew the pandal down. It was badly flattened that it could not be erected again in time. It was a great disappointment, but nothing could be done. Okay, and then in the evening there was another calamity. Because there was no program, Prabhupada stayed back in his room. He gave darshan to a few visitors. Then at about 9 p.m., after everyone had left, he rose from behind his low desk to go to the bathroom. As he stepped down the few inches from the asan, the carpet suddenly slipped out from under him. He fell with a crash on the wooden edge of the seat, ending up in a sitting position on the floor. It happened in a second, and although I was seated directly in front of the desk, there was nothing that I could do. Helpless and shocked, I simply looked on as Srila Prabhupada sat where he had fallen and rubbed his hip. Amazingly, he uttered not a sound, neither when the carpet slipped, nor after the fall. He simply sat with his eyes closed for about 10 or 20 seconds, tolerating the pain he surely felt. Then with my help, he rose to his feet. His foot was also injured, but without comment, he walked to the bathroom. When he came out, he advised me that the carpet should be properly adjusted. But apart from this, he made no reference to the incident again. So Prabhupada just accepted maybe that it was his fate, and he didn't chastise Harisori Prabhu, but he rectified the problem that the carpet should be properly adjusted. I'm just thinking that had it been someone else, not Srila Prabhupada, there would have been some swearing or curses, that why is this carpet not put properly? Yeah, but Prabhupada is teaching us tolerance, I guess, in this way. March 28, 1976. Mr. Agarwal hosted a program in the pandal in front of his house, which was well attended by his neighbors because it was Sunday morning. Prabhupada enjoyed it, and so did the devotees. We were able to perform Guru Puja and offer flowers personally to Srila Prabhupada as he sat regally on the small stage upon a nicely carved and opulently upholstered wooden seat provided for the occasion by Mr. Agarwal. Rida's passport was found discarded under a car in the driveway, but 500 rupees was missing. Chichukananda revealed that he had lost $500 at about the same time. Circumstances seem to indicate Chayavan as the possible culprit again. So Pushta Krishna searched his belongings. He found a savings book from a Seattle bank with a deposit entry of $23,000 in it. He showed it to Prabhupada, who said that the matter should be handled discreetly. So again, Prabhupada is teaching us how to handle certain matters. It shouldn't be blasted. Everyone, this is what this Prabhu did. So it should be handled discreetly. Considering the delicacy of the situation, Prabhupada called Chayavan in. Not wanting to directly accuse him of any wrongdoing without proof, he began by preaching to him about helping to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. He then suggested that if he had any money, he might like to help with the purchase of a house here in Delhi. Shri Shri Radharanath ki jai. Chayavan said he would be glad to help, but he had no funds. Prabhupada then called for the passbook and showed it to him. When Chayavan saw it, he laughed and explained that it was all false. He faked it in order to show customs officials in Africa that he had sufficient means to support himself while in their country. Prabhupada turned to Pushta Krishna Swami, who agreed that it could very well be. So Prabhupada laughed and said, "You made it to cheat the karmis, and now you are cheating us." He therefore let the matter drop, and Chayavan left. So I'm thinking like, this goes on, and we may accuse someone of doing something, but we have no proof. But Prabhupada showed us, he says here that handle it discreetly, and he says to Chayavan, go about preaching and help spread the Krishna consciousness movement. So, yes, devotees are coming from different backgrounds, they have so many anarthas in the heart, and it's not like suddenly you join the movement and, okay, you appear devotee. So things may go on, but Prabhupada is showing us that continue preaching, help spread Krishna consciousness, and this will purify the devotee, purify us. Association and spreading Krishna consciousness. Sorry, I lost the page now. Okay. So continuing the same pastime, this is. Because of economic hardship everywhere in India, the incidence of thievery by low-class persons is fairly common. And even in our temples, it is fairly frequent. Even though condemnable, it is somehow understandable. Yeah, it is. But later Prabhupada made a telling comment. I thought it was just the Indians, but now the Westerners are stealing as well. He is disgusted with the behavior of his wayward disciple Chayavan. He told me very frankly, this is why my god brothers criticize. These men come and insist, give me sannyas, give me sannyas. Why? What is the attraction? Then when they have it, they again fall down. One becomes a first-class thief and woman hunter. Another goes back to his wife. What is the use of such sannyas? Chayavan is intelligent and was doing nicely in Africa. Now he is a third-class thief. Rishi Kumar was such a nice brahmachari and sannyasi. I was expecting him to do something wonderful. Now he is a demon. Yeah, so these things go on. Unfortunately, it will happen. But the good thing is that they have practiced Krishna consciousness, and they may fall away and go back to their old ways, but they definitely will come back, because the seed is already planted in the heart. And these devotees here that we are talking about, Rishi Kumar, Chayavan, they surrendered to Srila Prabhupada. They gave so much to the mission. And so by reading this and we hearing what they had done, we shouldn't have ill feelings toward them, but we should appreciate what they have done for the movement, like that. Because definitely they will come back. Maybe not in this lifetime, but they will. Yes, Prabhu. Let's get the mic for you. Because they have to hear on the internet too.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I was just thinking, those two devotees that stole Ram Govinda Swami's passports and money never came back. You think they'll come back? And they're still looking for them.
Well, they have been in contact with us. Yes. So, but can I relate the story of what Prabhupada is talking about? So there were two devotees staying in the temple, and they were serving one of the Maharajas, one of our sannyasis, and then they stole from him and disappeared. So the amazing part was Maharaj didn't. Okay, yes, he was disturbed initially, and he was wondering how could they do such a thing, but he never was like angry towards them or said anything bad to about them. And I associated with Maharaj, who we were quite close, and he said, well, maybe it was his karma. Yeah, but those devotees, at least one of them, was in contact with us, and we also didn't speak about the incident. We just encouraged them, continue. Asked them how they are first of all, and said, come visit us, continue chanting. Yeah, like Nishingananda Prabhu.
So when I was the temple president in Hillbrow, we also had a major case with a devotee. It was in Sankirtan. It was practically, stealing, for months and years. The previous temple president had some suspicion, but couldn't find any evidence.
Yeah.
And then, when I became the temple president, I told the accountant to make sure that you look at all the receipts and make sure you count and see the numbers, that the receipts are in sequence.
Yes, yes.
Right? Because even though you may be giving a receipt, you pull one of the receipts out and then you keep the money and then you just give a stack of receipts and then you pack a count. Right?
So easy to overlook it,
Yeah. So he started doing that, and eventually, we were able to detect that. And we then, the whole thing came out. But Giraj, His Honor's Giraj Maharaj was GBC. And eventually we had a meeting, and Maharaj chastised me. He said, it's your fault. Because the bank does not employ honest people. They put processes in place to make sure that people don't steal.
Yes.
See? So if you just leave things unlocked, no cameras, then you basically facilitating
it's like
that and encouraging that mentality.
You're tempting it, yeah.
So, if we restrict and make sure, as far as possible, not just, everyone's devotee, but at least we make arrangements.
Yes.
So then that inhibits that anartha from coming up.
Yeah.
Right? So that's, definitely there. And then the other aspect is, it's like if somebody, Prabhupada gives an example, if somebody's coming into the shower, then, the dirt will come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So we need to, they need to stay in the shower. So if we have, a strong spiritual atmosphere, very, very vibrant, very strong, then 100%. That also, very quickly helps them to overcome the anartha.
Yeah.
But if it's very lackadaisical or, it's not, not vibrant, then that also starts to breed the anartha.
Yes.
Yeah. So, So I always remember that. Maharaj chastised me. It's your fault. and I had nothing to do with it. I just came in as and then I realized, we have we need to make sure that we try to prevent them from doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, because it's like, everybody coming here is from different backgrounds. They've got so many anarthas. And it's not like immediately, you walk into the temple and then pure devotee. Yeah. So the precautions have to take place. And like Prabhupada said that, so to prevent the anarthas from surfacing or resurfacing. Yes, even it, yeah.
And maybe just another point regarding, Prabhupada's reaction to, these incidents. And there's so many, even in Mayapur, when somebody was stealing and they caught him, and Prabhupada said, it's okay, let him, give him a chance. Don't take him to the police. Give him a chance. And Prabhupada gave him the chance, and then he, the next, day or so, he still, was stolen and was, trying to leave.
Yeah.
And then Prabhupada said, now I have to hand you over. So Prabhupada always, and stealing may just be also very mild. There were, many other incidents that were even more grave.
Yes.
Like Prabhupada said, there are those that even want to kill him. So, but Prabhupada, even though he knew that, but always gave the opportunity and the mercy for them to improve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that his compassionate nature, it's it's exactly like Lord Nityananda.
Yeah.
Right? But I hit Lord Nityananda. He could have, you don't know who I am. I'm Balaram. I'll slaughter you right now completely. But no, he didn't get angry at all. He said, it's okay, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Just chant, So, and Prabhupada, that the manifestation of Lord Nityananda's mercy is there.
Isn't Prabhupada. Yes.
So,
Haribol.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no limit.
Yeah, so she's making the point that Prabhupada, because in Juhu, Bombay, when one temple president from Calcutta called Srila Prabhupada and said, one of your disciples are, smoking. And Prabhupada said, tell him that if he doesn't stop, I'll reject him. And Tamakrishna Maharaj was there. So Tamakrishna Maharaj later on asked Srila Prabhupada, so Prabhupada, will you really reject him? And Srila Prabhupada said, no. And then he said, but there must be a line. Somewhere along the line, they would, it's like, how far can you tolerate? It keeps doing this. And Prabhupada said, Lord Nityananda, there's no limit to Lord Nityananda's mercy. And at the same, on the converse side, Prabhupada also said that because Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya are unlimitedly merciful, we should be very careful not to take advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that falls in the category of the seventh offense.
Yeah. Committing offenses on the strength of chanting the holy name.
That okay, no, it's okay, I'll do it, and they're very merciful, they'll let me go. Nope. So that we have to be very careful.
Yes.
Yeah. If the narrator, unintentional offense, overpowers us, then
accidental fall down.
Accidental, and we'll know it's accidental when you do something and you repent and you regret and you're trying to, rectify it. Yeah. So the mercy is there, but we have to be careful.
Yeah. Thank you. So we'll continue. A few minutes more. The Ram Leela grounds, Pandal, resumed this evening and was a big success. After an excellent lecture by Srila Prabhupada, over 8,000 rupees worth of books were sold. The audience sat entranced as the devotees staged a drama called The Entrance of Kali. Prabhupada stayed to watch the play and truly enjoyed it. A newspaper printed an excellent article today, the result of yesterday's interview. Prabhupada was happy with it because the reporter had accurately noted his main theme. The headline read, Krishna forgotten in land of his birth. So, the first two pastimes, or the first or second pastime, the one that Raghunath Bhatta Prabhu did last week, was speaking about how the people of India had forgotten the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and have become are becoming or have become degraded now. And so this article in the newspaper is referring to that. And I don't know if this is a mundane example or not, but I'm just trying to make a point that when India was ruled by power-hungry leaders, India was suffering, you know. If you look at it in terms of, they were suffering materially. But now that their present leaders, who for me is a sadhu, you know, he's like a sadhu. He's leading the country, and then we see that the country is improving so much materially, but also Krishna consciousness is booming in India. You know? And then Prabhupada speaks so much about the leaders, how important the leaders are in his purports and in the books. And that example of India just shows that if the leader is a spiritual person, that the country is gonna benefit, the people of the country will benefit, and there's so much talks of India becoming number one country in the world now, just by the leader. That's my thoughts on it. So yeah, so that time, the article is referring to how the people of India had forgotten the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and become degraded, taken to Western culture. And Prabhupada came to the West, gave Bhagavad Gita, and those Westerners have become so spiritually. They are the leaders of the movement, became the leaders of the movement. Prabhupada took them to India and made the Indians Krishna conscious again, you know. And just like that with us too, I never knew how important Bhagavad Gita was. But simply just by reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Prabhupada's translations and purports, Krishna's words, yes, I have changed, becoming purified, I hope. So yeah, Bhagavad Gita, if we spread the teachings of Bhagavad Gita as much as possible, then yes, the change will be there. And we see it, it's there, we can see it. So March 29th, 1976, and this is Modi Nagar. Early in the morning, Srila Prabhupada went by car to Modi Nagar, a small industrial town founded by the Modi family. They are well known throughout India for cloth and other manufactured goods. It has 6 colleges and a huge factory complex. A notable feature is a grand Lakshmi Narayan temple compound built from red sandstone with 3 large steeple-like towers set back from the road across a broad open courtyard. Srila Prabhupada was met in front of the temple by a widowed Mrs. Modi and a large crowd of our devotees. After paying his respects to the deities and taking a tour of the marble complex, he gave a short talk in a back room before going to the Modi mansion, where we will reside until tomorrow. The mansion is situated on several acres of land and enclosed by a high wall. The house is quite dark and seems to lack personal warmth, but the reception was quite cordial. In the evening, Prabhupada returned to the temple lecture room and gave a long discourse to a crowd of some 2,500, the majority being women and children. After an exuberant kirtan, he spoke for about an hour. The Vyasasan was one of the most spectacular we've seen yet. In shape, it looked almost like a silver spaceship, and it was detailed with flowered patterns and bright colors. On his return to the house, Mrs. Modi gave Prabhupada 1,000 rupees induction. Okay. March 30th, 1976. Srila Prabhupada took a brief walk around the Modi estate before his departure. During the walk, he noted some large bottle palms similar to the ones he had seen at the sister's estate in Nellore. He suggested they would be suitable trees for decorating the grounds of our Mayapur complex. Srila Prabhupada then took his leave and he headed off for our next program. So Prabhupada was on the move all the time, doing so many programs in one day. And then also giving instructions like about the trees, that it would look good in the Mayapur complex grounds. So Prabhupada is doing so much at one time. Aligarh. Aligarh is a city with a population of about 300,000. A very old center of learning. It is also notable as the place where the Muslim League was founded in the fight to gain Indian independence from the British. Its universities is also of national importance. Because Aligarh is very near to Vrindavan, most of the people speak Brajbhasi, the dialect of Hindi peculiar to this area. We are staying at Surendra Kumar Saigal's home on Maris Road, the main residential area for the wealthy section of the populace. The house, which was erected around 1918, is a large single-story colonial-style building with very high ceilings, dark rooms, and a cool interior. It stands behind a high front wall on 3 acres of spacious lawns and landscaped gardens. So just explains the place that Prabhupada is visiting. As soon as Srila Prabhupada arrived, Surendra Kumar's wife invited him to see a beautiful deity of Krishna. Stepping inside a small room off the back veranda, Mrs. Saigal revealed her worshipable Lord. He is 3 feet high and carved from white marble, complete with crown, chadar, dhoti, and a brass flute. Her worship of the Lord is not very elaborate, with offerings consisting primarily of incense and flowers, but Srila Prabhupada encouraged her devotion and suggested that she obtain a deity of Radharani. Why keep Krishna alone, he said. So another instruction. That Krishna is never alone. He is always with his devotees. Srimati Radharani, with the cowherd boys, even with the cows or peacocks, So there's about only 5 minutes left. I don't know, we'll stop here. Anyone want to add anything?
So you were mentioning about India and the current president there.
Yes.
It's interesting, when the British were ruling, what they did was they created laws to uproot the Vedic system. Both from an environment perspective, like for example introducing cow slaughter, etc., but also in the education system. So they made it a law that anything related to Sanskrit, Sanatan Dharma should not be taught in schools. And Bible and everything else was like the history of that was the standard. So now, with Modi in place, he's changed that completely the other way around now. So now, legally, from a law, he instituted a law that now they can actually study, Sanatan Dharma, Sanskrit, from small. So slowly that will also, facilitate, because now, like Mahabharata, Ramayana, they can study all that, and that all has the culture and the history. So that's, the one thing. And then in terms of spreading Krishna consciousness, we see Srila Prabhupada, his vision and his endeavor, it's like unstoppable. And Prabhupada made the point that if 1% of the world become Krishna conscious, then that 1% will start to influence and tilt the ill or the ill effects of Kali Yuga, even the influence, start influencing the people on the planet. Yeah, and 1%, if you take current, like say 7 or 8 billion population, so that's 80 million devotees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to, at least try for that target first, to make 80 million devotees across the globe, to then have that influence, on the rest. Yeah, I'll just share that.
I'm just thinking 80 million devotees chanting Hare Krishna is going to make a big difference. Yeah. Yes. One time, I remember His Holiness Parthasarathi Goswami Maharaj was saying that Kali Yuga is actually really bad, but because the devotees are chanting Hare Krishna, it is not that bad. So if there's no devotees chanting, I don't even want to think about what it's going to be like. Yeah.
Yeah. So in regards to that point also, Guru Kripa Prabhu. Yeah. So Guru Kripa Prabhu, he had a center in China.
Mm-hmm.
And he started a center in China, and nobody was really coming. So it was very difficult. So he decided, let me just close the center down. Nobody's coming. It's like, resources, and it's difficult. And so he closed the center down, and then he met Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada asked him, how's things going in China? And he said, no, Prabhupada, I had a small center and I closed it down. And Prabhupada said, no. You go back, you open up, a center or open up an office, right? And you just chant in there. And by that chanting, the vibration will emit.
Yeah.
And it's going to influence them. So we may be still seeing, relative, nobody's coming, what's the use, but no, Prabhupada was not seeing this on a relative plane, right? The influence is, the energy is vibrating, the influence is having impact.
Yeah, definitely.
And if we see what Srila Prabhupada has done, if you take, the full clock, you can have practically as Mangalarati around the clock in every country. So practically non-stop, Prabhupada has created a movement of chanting Hare Krishna non-stop on the whole planet, from east to west, from midnight, right back across. That influence cannot be undermined. Yeah, cannot be undermined.
It's amazing, eh?
Like yesterday, we did a Food for Life at a black school, and they're run by a lot of whites, Christians. And we were chanting there. As they were taking the prasad, we were chanting. And I know Zulu well. And they get very attracted if someone speaks the language, And even the teachers. So I was telling them that we're calling upon the name of the Lord, Hare Krishna. And while we're chanting, and the kids were dancing and chanting and chanting. And some of the Christian teachers said, hey, what are you guys are doing? They said, Hare Krishna. And they were going all around taking prasadam, and they were just chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. You could just see all over the ground just doing this, taking prasadam. And I said, as you said, he said that, it'll spread, the holy name, even to the Christian ears.
Yeah.
So this chanting is very powerful.
I mean, when we started doing Harinam in Durban CBD, when devotees were doing it, and then suddenly it stopped. And then when we started staying, then we tried to revive street chanting. And so we started in the Durban CBD. And we used to do it like almost every week there. And the difference in the atmosphere and in the people, you could see a marked difference, And now when we go, because we don't go there so often now, it was doing other areas. And when we go now, and then it's like the people are asking, where have you all been? We've been waiting, But initially when we started, like we were being attacked, People were throwing stones, knives were being pulled out and things like that. But we persisted. And the holy name just changed the entire place. Another time it was after Rath Yatra, last year, the big Rath Yatra. When was the one day? Last year was one day only, Yeah. So at the evening, it was one devotee, Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, myself. We were walking to the car because we were ready to go home, and I was just singing. He was playing drum. I was playing cartels, and we were singing. And then this busload of Shembe followers. They were, They were in one in the same parking lot that we were, and then we were just chanting, going along, and then suddenly they all ran out of the bus, and because it was like they got attracted to the holy name, and they all ran out of the bus, and then they started dancing, and eventually it got so ecstatic. We were running like kids around the bus, and they were following us, and then we eventually stopped. And then they were asking us, what's this? And then we said, we're praising the names of God. And then they started chanting again on their own. And then the chanting started again, the Hare Krishna mantra. So it's like a wildfire, This holy name is non-different from Krishna. I mean, we hear it all the time, and sometimes devotees really believe it, that it is non-different from Krishna.
I'll just share one more pastime in regards to that. So in Hillbrow, we would do Harinam in the morning and afternoon every day. Just before breakfast, we'll go out and then come, and then in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, go and then come. And also in the beginning, people would throw water and eggs and from the top. And there was one gentleman, elderly man, and he was in a high-rise building. So every time we would go in the streets in the Harinam, he told us the story afterwards, so that's how we know. We would be going on the Harinam, and he would be swearing. What's wrong with these people, And upset and angry and swearing, And this was going on day in, day out. And then eventually, he managed to come to the temple and became a devotee, chanted 16 rounds. Right?
Yeah.
So, and like how you're reading, Srila Prabhupada giving the opportunity to someone who had bad habits to say, continue chanting and preaching.
Yeah.
And here's somebody who is not interested in hearing the holy name, but he got angry because it had to enter the ears, right? So it already went in.
Yeah.
And now... so he's already purifying himself, but he's upset and he's angry, and even that did not stop the holy name to bestow mercy. Mm-hmm. And like one devotee was saying, in China, he's distributing books, and people are walking, and they got meat in their mouth. So when he meets them and he says, Hare Krishna, what is Hare Krishna? And he was... his realization was just they got meat in the mouth, and yet they're still able to chant the holy name. The holy name was so merciful that the holy name is even ready to, be there where there's even meat. Unimaginable compassion.
If you really think about it, it's the holy name is so merciful.
Even you were talking about these rastas. Many of them like Hunga, Kancha.
Yeah.
And I know many of them joined our movement,
the
Rastas, and that was more powerful than the Hunga, the holy name.
Yeah, we got the best drug here. You can stay high forever. Okay, so we'll stop here. Okay, we will meet you. So, unfortunately, we have to be for the Tongad Rath Yatra. Not unfortunate, fortunately. So we'll be chanting and dancing there. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.